Welcome to another episode of the Woman Up podcast, a place where we entertain, educate and elevate women on this journey we call life. And on this week's episode, I'm really excited to have my first male guest. It is Mervyn Reid-Nelson. How are you?
I'm good. The first male guest.
You
what
are
an
the
honour.
first male guest on my podcast.
Wow, thank you. What affords me that privilege? Sorry, men need to do more. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Obviously, because I know everything you do, and yeah, I can't wait to get into this conversation. I have like a million questions.
I'm an open book, Martha.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the interview, and then after we'll do 333, which I already told you is my little game, which is, it used to be icebreakers actually, but I feel like it's nicer if people get to know you a bit better first, and then we'll do the fun.
I'm down.
Okay, so to start off with, just let everyone know who you are and what you do.
All right. I am Mervyn Reid-Nelson. I run You at Yours, and You at Yours is it's like a confidence centre. It's a place where you kind of come when you want to get a bit of a boost, but the primary vessel that we carry people on is photography. It's giving people an opportunity to see what they look like without being so concerned with what they look like. In other words, how powerful can I be when I'm not so obsessive about my appearance?
Yeah.
It's taking away the sort of element of the hack, which is how do I pose for a picture, and instead replacing it with how can I feel authentic in the world and still look great.
I love that.
That's the premise of it.
Yeah. Before we delve into You at Yours, let's go back a step, because you weren't always doing this, were you?
No.
How did this, where did this journey start?
Sure. So I'd say I've always been this way. Like, if you were to ever work with me, and actually what most people say, I've had it 3 times in the past couple of days, is you don't know what this is until you've done it. So I'm going to do my best to explain it all to you, but it's one of those things you just can't comprehend it. But I'm a people person first, photographer second. People think of me as a photographer because they see the pretty pictures and they think, oh, he's very good with the camera. My main skill is actually giving people a space where they can feel comfortable. So with that in mind, I had this skill set which I've been developing since I was a teenager, which wasn't even conscious, which is to sort of see people. I began my photography journey around 2016, and I was shooting weddings.
Okay.
I was also corporate, and I was shooting weddings on the weekend. And the thing is with weddings and even events is you point a camera at a person, especially a British person, and they will tell you as a form of defense how fat and ugly they are, right? And how disgusting they'll look and how bad those photos are going to be, and you won't get me in the lens, mate, because I'm so big, and all these things. They're just saying it as a form of, they're preempting what they think you're thinking. Like a defense mechanism or something. Yeah. So then me, being the empath that I am, would be like, no, don't say that about yourself. I'm going to show you how amazing you look, standing like this. Okay, great. Oh, you look amazing. Snap. And this person's buzzing. But you do that 50 times in a wedding, drained. I would sit in my car and cry just from being emotionally exhausted from carrying these complete strangers and their baggage. So,
but you'd think at a wedding when you're all dressed up, you got your makeup done, no?
What happens is a camera is most people's kryptonite. Doesn't matter what you're dressed up as. You might have a bit more confidence, you might be feeling a bit better, but for those people who have severe insecurities about their appearance, that is the worst. Events, weddings, and also they're in front of their peers. Yeah. So they double down on it because they're saying what they think everyone thinks of them, which is that they are whatever is going on for them, right? So, from what I saw, it was awful. I got to see firsthand how bad we have it. Our body image, especially in this country, is awful. Awful. The idea of, and then if you go the other way, Martha, we're taught that loving yourself is a bad thing. Yeah. Outwardly saying actually, I look great. No one does that at large. It's not a common thing. So, when you're at a wedding and you're looking good or feeling good, those people who are internally confident in that moment aren't saying it either. And sometimes they play it down. Like, oh no, I know I look bad today. Deep down they know that's fine. But they won't ever behave in that way. And so we live in a world where confidence it's not prominent. So to jump forward, I then just took my camera and my skill set and just decided to start You at Yours, and that was 2008. Yeah,
So that was
2018.
18, yeah.
2018, sorry.
Yeah. So what was that transition like for you? Just like going from weddings to something completely different.
Scary, like, and also I didn't really know what I was doing. How it happened was I had a client or two clients, a couple that were getting married out in Dublin, and she approached me privately. She was like, "Oh, I want to do one of these sexy photo shoots for him." I'd never really done it before, you know, and back then I thought it was the images that would make the difference. I thought, oh, if you show someone this mirror that they can't argue with, then they're going to see, oh, I look great. I look great. And then as time went on, I was like, this has nothing to do with the pictures at all. Someone could come in and have this experience and never see their photographs and still have that feeling of achievement, confidence, overcoming something, liberation. That is really what this is all about. The pictures just cement that. They act as proof. So when you have a down day, you can flip open your app that we have or open up your album or whatever and be like, I'm the shit. Thanks, Mav. Yeah, you know, that, and that's what this is all about. And it took me about 3 years to realise that. Yeah. To realise the photos are just this add-on. It's a bit like going on a roller coaster. The pictures at the end are just the memory. Yeah. You know?
So just for anyone who doesn't know You at Yours, actually, what does You at Yours mean?
Yeah, great question. So when I began, I thought there'd be a lot of power in people doing it at home. So it's you at yours, at your place.
Oh, at your place, okay.
Yeah?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so before the pandemic in 2020, it was like 70% in people's homes. And then after, it flipped. Okay. So it's now 70% at spaces we provide.
Okay.
And we're doing a lot more outdoor stuff now. We did a beach retreat recently, and someone next week is going on her own through the West End, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brave.
So, yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I don't want to jump any guns here, but yeah, that's what You at Yours came from.
Yeah. So just to explain what the experience is like at You at Yours, and also what the photos are like, because someone who doesn't know you might be like, well, what's so important about these photos? Yeah.
Got it. So the pictures, generally, I've been voted the best boudoir photographer in London, like 3 years running.
Amazing.
But I don't really subscribe to that notion. Like, it looks like boudoir because there's lingerie and there's skin and sometimes nudity, but it isn't the essence of it. The essence of it actually is freedom. To tell you a quick story to make this point, everyone who works with us, they have to fill in a questionnaire, and there's loads of questions, but one key question is, how far do you want to go? From conservative right up to nudity. Okay? You're sat on your sofa filling in this questionnaire. How do you feel today? Most people tick like lingerie. They often, 90% of the time, go one step or two steps beyond what they think is possible for them, generally. On this one occasion, though, she ticked conservative, and then that means like pajamas, robe, you know, like, she was like, you're not going to get any skin out of me, bro. None, right? Yeah. And I was like, cool, it's none of my business. I don't put pressure on anyone. Whatever you tell me on that form is my limit. We don't go past it unless you want to. By the end of her shoot, Martha, this woman was doing star jumps butt naked.
Wow, nice.
I'm not even joking. Like, boobs were clapping in the air like this, right? And like everything was hanging out. And, you know, I took this photo of her midair. Not a flattering picture, but a memory. And she sat at my desk right here, and she looked at that picture, and we laughed about it. And then she cried. And she was like, that's the most free I've ever felt in my body.
That's amazing.
And that's the power of it. It's not just about getting sexy pictures for your partner, you know. The benefit a partner gets isn't pictures, it's a more confident partner. I had a guy, we had an exhibition last year, and this guy comes up to me, his partner had a shoot with me, and he was like, bro, the sex is amazing now, man, like so much, you know.
You're like a couples therapist now.
I don't even mean to be, like, it's just it's a side effect of that person showing up for themselves. So, you know, that's what this is really all about. So the pictures can sometimes seem sensual or sometimes even sexual, but they're not necessarily that. Sometimes it's just a half-naked person just in their skin, literally just existing. Yeah.
But can there be such a shift from just that one experience?
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know, it sounds like weird to me almost, because it's like a one-time thing. It's not like when I hear about like self-development and things like that, it's something that you're consistently working on day in, day out. So for that shift to happen in just one experience with you is like, I can't even imagine.
I find it hard to believe as well sometimes.
Yeah.
But the feedback I get and the emails I get, and someone emailing me like a year later to say where they're at now. For example, I had one lady come in, and unfortunately for her, well, actually, I'd say fortunately for her, her period came early, and it arrived the morning or the night before the morning of her session, and she was like, nah.
You need to reschedule.
And I was like, you can, or imagine. And so her symptoms were she got acne, and she had a bloated tummy and a bad back, I think. And I was like, okay, imagine you love your images, right? Isn't the rest of life easy? And then she went for it. And that individual, and she's given me permission to share this story, that individual had never gone out with her legs or her cleavage out in her life. And that night, after the shoot, went out, bought a dress, little short skirt, little black dress, and sent me photos. She was like, I'm a different person. I had a 56-year-old come and sit right here, I'll never forget. And she came in, and she was like, slammed on the table, I've been Mervynized, right? I was like, what are you talking about? And she undid her jacket, and she had this like leopard print mesh top on with like a bra underneath, cleavage up to here. And she was like, I'm going to start an OnlyFans, fuck it. and she was like, I haven't even seen the pictures. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, and off she's gone on this journey, and she's gone and done it.
Have you trademarked that now?
I should. Mervynized. I should. To your point though, I think what it is, it's the spark. What they then go and do is up to them, and I encourage them. We're now signposting and being like, go and do this thing, just to keep it going. So yeah, I think it can, but it's up to that individual.
Yeah. I'm like blown away by it. I think it's amazing.
It is amazing.
How does it make you feel?
Sometimes it's overwhelming. I'll be honest. Sometimes it's really overwhelming. We got some feedback the other day from a woman, and she didn't tell me this at the time, but her and her partner had been trying to conceive for a long time, and it wasn't working out. They went through several attempts of IVF, wasn't working out.
Yeah.
Came and had a shoot, got pregnant.
No way.
And like she was like, I
not
think
at
it's
the
just...
shoot.
No. Yeah, I'm not the dad, I promise. But no, it turned out that she just was struggling to find love for herself because she was seeing her body as failing her. And so she was like, when she kind of dropped her shoulders, she was like, okay, let me just try and love myself. Pregnant. And then she waited a whole year before she told me, because it sounded from the message like she wasn't convinced it was even going to happen.
Yeah.
This can't be real.
Yeah.
And then sent me photos of her and her baby. And that's the kind of stuff that I just sit here and cry, because it's so overwhelming that, like you said, that in a small period of time, we can have that kind of impact on someone, or at least give them, because ultimately I am just holding space. It does come from them. Yeah. You know, I give them all the credit and all the flowers. It's not, I can hold the space, but I'm not the one that books it or gets you to show up or do the thing, you know.
What do you think makes people book something like that?
Oftentimes there's a thing that's happened for them where they've had enough. Sometimes it's a breakup. Sometimes it's a catalyst. Usually it's a big one. You know, they've seen a photo of themselves on holiday. They're like, oh man, like I'm still hating on myself. I don't want to feel that way anymore. Or sometimes it's just their birthday. And they're like, oh, you know, I want to celebrate myself. Oftentimes they need an excuse. But it is just an excuse. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's my partner's birthday, but it's not really for him. Yeah. You know? But sometimes something's happened. A breakup, or someone's been cheated on, or often it's around relationships actually. You know, mothers are the ones who I really try and target, because they're the ones who really struggle with investing time and energy into themselves. And what they are also doing by not doing that is setting a bad example to their children. They think by sacrificing all their thing or everything for their children is the best thing to do, but no, they're setting an example to their children that you should give up all your happiness and all the things that are important to you, including your self-love and your confidence, just to make somebody else happy that you love. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get mothers to break that cycle, man. I'm like, no, like still put you first. They can still get whatever they need, but not at your expense. It's a very hard thing to sell to them though. But a lot of mothers get it, but it's a big, big mountain. mountain to climb there.
I can imagine as well, like when you give birth or after you've given birth, your body changes as well.
Yeah,
So just having that like confidence boost just from a physical aspect as well, I guess. Yeah.
And that's actually the thing. Like mothers will declare all the time how much they've lost themselves to motherhood, and sometimes have a degree of resentment to their kids. Because my body was banging before you came along, you little prick. You know, like and I understand it.
Yeah.
But the goal now is how can we celebrate this new version of you? Because your arms and legs and your boobs and your butt and everything still looks great. You know, it's just different to what you know it to be. It doesn't mean it's not worthy of love. It's just a difference. So, but I have to say all this, Martha, with absolute respect. Like, I'm a man. I don't know what I'm talking about, really. But I have done this over 700 times. So I've seen a lot, and I've had a lot of conversations, and I've seen people come in. I've got one lady, she's done it 8 times. I watched her through multiple pregnancies and multiple parts of her life. So I have some knowledge that I like to impart. Yeah.
What keeps her coming back?
I think she sees this as a really safe space. I think it's probably one of the only spaces, from what she's told me, that where she feels truly like safe to be whoever she wants to be.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yes and no. Like, it's great that we can give that to her, but what we want is for her to have that for herself.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, and there's somebody else who said something similar, and like I was like, who are the people in your life? Like, how can we create a lifestyle for you where you have these people in your life that can. Because, you know, not everyone is out here, like, being all, you know, empowering and telling you should love yourself and, oh, my God, you know, you look amazing. You know, there are certain communities that I think you're part of where that is just a standard thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that. And they're isolated in their struggle. And so everything we work towards is not just expressing yourself so you can see the love, but also share it and build bonds and community as well.
Yeah. Talk to us about like the process from start to finish. So if I go on your website, I fill out the form, then what happens?
So you have to fill in a form which gets you to understand the process, like what this actually is at its core. Because hands up, we know the photos is what is the hook. People are going to be like, oh my God, that looks amazing. I want one of those. You know, no one ever searches body confidence photography. That's not a thing, right? So they need to come in, but we then get them to self-qualify. Like, why are you here? What do you struggle with? Are you here? In fact, one of the questions is like, are you here for the sexy pictures or are you here to be more confident in your body? Right? That tells us everything we need to know. And so, doesn't mean we won't work with the person who wants the sexy photos, but there's often so much more beneath it. They just haven't tapped into it yet. So they fill in the form. Then they have a chat with Naomi. Naomi has a chat with them, again, make sure that they're good and they're qualified. Because we don't just want to take on anybody. Like, I'm not just out here looking to just take photos of anyone who's prepared to go in a room and take their clothes off.
Okay.
That doesn't, like, I want to love my job. And someone who's not doing the work doesn't fulfill my need or my desire.
So what would be, like, something that they would say or do that would make you say, actually, this isn't right for you?
My boyfriend wants some photos. I don't really feel comfortable doing it, but I'm going to do it for him. Or I just want posing. I just want some images for my Instagram. Or it's just purely about the output. And it's an education process because, again, people are like, of course it's about the output. Like, you're a photographer. Like, and I get that. But once you start the journey with us and once you start, like, pricking your ears up and start reading, you'll be like, oh, there's more to this. But we can tell the people who haven't read anything on the website. Someone got into the room. I don't know how they managed to bypass. I think they just said all the right things, but they got into the room with me and they thought that we Photoshopped.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But it's on your website.
I know, it's everywhere, Martha. Like, you can't say it louder. And somehow she was like, oh, you're going to Photoshop all this, right? I'm like, ha! I put my camera down. I was like, we can stop now if you want. Because I was like, I'm not getting involved. And also, my fear is that you're going to not like your images. But I was like, or this is a great little challenge for you. And you can dive off the deep end right now. We can do it, and you can see how amazing you look without it. Have a go.
Yeah.
You know? And she did. And she loved them.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad.
Win.
Yeah.
But my point is that, you know, she wasn't qualified enough. Anyway, then they have a chat with Naomi. Then they actually then come in and meet me with a planning session. I help them with, like, picking outfits, mindset stuff. Then we have our session. Then I tell them to have a night out, go on a date, go dancing with your friends. They're high as a kite.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the guy who came in this morning to see his images, I said to him yesterday when I had his shoot yesterday, go on a date. Get a date lined up. He doesn't live here. I was like, see if you can get a local date. And he came in today. He was like, the best day ever. Because I was in love with myself.
Yeah.
And great. So anyway, then they come in and see the images. And then loads of tears, got loads of tissue. We get through like boxes of the stuff. Because they come in. And here's an interesting thing, Martha. They all come in, 95% of them, thinking they're going to hate their images. They all do the same thing. Oh, Merv, you were amazing. Oh, man, I had such a good time. But listen, I know you're a good photographer and that, but look at what you got to deal with, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I like one, I'll be lucky. And they try and manage their expectations. And then when they see the images and they end up picking 55 images of themselves, they can't believe it. They're like, how did you do that? And how did you do it in like an hour?
Yeah.
And it's really because they just let go. Honestly, that's it. I have some skill.
I was going to say, like, how do you create that environment for them?
Listening.
What is it that you do? It's like
you
magic.
Listen. No, you listen and you encourage.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people have a story that they don't share or can't share. Most people do. And they don't talk to their partner about it because their partner is too invested in that story. It's going to impact their relationship. I'm far enough removed where someone can come in and be like, I'm struggling with this thing. Or, actually, do you know what? I really like this part of my body. And I want to... Or, do you know what? It broke my heart when that person broke up with me or cheated on me or whatever. And they have a big cry. And then we celebrate it, you know? And it just gives them a chance to feel seen. Yeah. That's basically it. And I think that's what we all want, ultimately. And because we're all fast-paced and don't take time, you know, I don't think people have that kind of intense, magnified view on them, which is also the thing that terrifies people. The idea of being in the spotlight sounds terrifying, but I think that's from a point of getting it wrong. People are like, I don't want to do that because what if I look awkward? Or what if I don't know how to pose? What if I get it wrong? You're output focused. You're thinking about the pictures. If I told you that you could just be yourself in that space, there is no right or wrong. You're just going to be whoever you want to be on the day. Yeah. And I'll encourage that, whoever that is. Yeah. Including people that show up with a onesie.
Yeah, you know? I love that. Hey ladies, thanks for joining us here on another episode of the Woman Up podcast. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a moment to say, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please follow the channel and leave us a review. It really, really helps with our reach. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any episodes in the future. If you're feeling especially inspired, please feel free to leave us a comment or share the episode on your socials. I personally read all comments and every share has a massive effect on our growth, so it really means the world to us. Thanks in advance, we appreciate you, and let's get back to the episode. Have you ever had anyone say, I don't like the pictures?
Everyone, 80% of people will see images they won't like. It's a guarantee. I can't show you 100% hit rate. It's impossible, right? But no one has ever said I don't like all of my images. Never. And that's an amazing achievement at 706 now, I think.
Yeah.
Like, phenomenal. And I think the same way a couple who just got married could look at a really blurry, grainy, badly taken photo of their first kiss, will still love that picture, right? I think the magic is because they're seeing an energy.
Yeah, it's the moment. You've captured the moment.
I've captured something that they haven't seen. They often tell me they've just seen a version of themselves they've never seen before, which can be overwhelming for some people. Like, I have to manage some people through that process. They're like, who's that? I don't recognize her. I like her, but she scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And then they text me a year later and they're like, oh, I'm doing this mad thing now. You know, thanks to you, XYZ. Honestly, it's the best job ever.
Yeah. Well, I know you've mentioned it's like body confidence photography. So what does body confidence mean to you?
Oh, great question. For me, it means being accepting, respecting, and being comfortable with the notion that your body's changing and will change. Today you're bloated, tomorrow you're not. Today you have a good hair day, tomorrow you don't. what we allow ourselves to do is to go take our emotions on that journey.
Yeah.
I'm happy today, I feel shit tomorrow. I'm happy today. If you can learn to accept and respect that is life, then you just strap yourself into the roller coaster and expect that there were going to be highs and lows. I think that's body confidence. I think what people believe it to be is loving your body all the time, or being able to wear that dress, or being able to walk down the beach in a bikini. I don't think that's it. I think the people who can do those things are the ones who are often had the experience or the benefit of having some major spikes in their life and being comfortable with that middle ground. Mothers are another perfect example. They'll tell you, this baby ripped me open, right? I don't care about, sorry, that's really grotesque, sorry, but I don't care about having to walk down the beach in a swimsuit anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen life.
Yeah.
And people that have gone through something traumatic, they're people who have been marginalised by society. They're the most confident people. A curvy girl, someone with one leg, someone with alopecia, they're living. The rest of us, we haven't got the privilege yet of understanding the beauty of life because we're too caught up in some minute thing and letting us hold us back.
Yeah.
You know?
So what role do you think you at yours plays in like this broader conversation of body positivity?
I'd say the goal is not necessarily to get anyone to the place where you're loving yourself all the time. That's not realistic. It's getting them to see their truth. It's getting them to peel back the layers and be like, oh, look, what was under the layers all along was something even more powerful than what you're showing the world. You're showing them this version of yourself because that's safest to you. But actually what you at yours does, it shows them a version of themselves that people actually, you know, if you were in this room and looked at these pictures, you'd be like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
It makes you someone that people aspire to be. And you were always that person. Your friends would have told you that 100 times, or you couldn't see it. Now you can. And then that allows you to go for that job interview, date again, wear that dress, whatever.
Yeah. What about, I know most of our viewers and listeners are women, but you work with men as well. How is that going?
Men are a tricky kettle of fish. Men at large can't see the value in what I do. They think that if I don't like my body, then actually men don't often take action with anything they're feeling. You know, if a man's got something that, you know, he's got this niggling thing, like they're like, oh, it'll go away. Women are like, I'm going to deal with it. Yeah, that's the difference. Okay,
Yeah.
this is why most of my clientele are women, because most women are proactive. So men aren't prepared to do as much about it, and when they do, it's either hitting the gym or some form of like protein shake or some other type of thing. Like the idea, if I said to a man, hey, come into a room, no, first pay me, then come into a room, get naked, and I'm going to help you feel better on your body, they'd be like, what on earth are you on about, bro? Yeah, and they just can't get it. So, and I've done some exercises. I was invited to a friend's party last year actually, and we ran this exercise where we used her bedroom, we shut the curtains, had a completely dark room, pitch black. I could barely move or see where I was going.
Yeah.
And we invited people in for 3 minutes at a time. Do whatever you want. I can't see you and you can't see me. I'm just going to take photos of you with a flash, right? So flash, flash, do whatever you want. People were coming out of that room screaming, elated. And people were like, what's going on in that room? What was happening for them was they didn't have the judgment wall of seeing the camera or seeing me. So they were able to just go completely free. And we had men come into the room, and men were coming out of there being like, oh my God, that was the best thing ever. You know? And I think that gave them a taste, those particular men that were lucky to have that experience, of what it could be like to actually be in your body and be authentic. Because it's not even about the skin. You know, it's about showing up authentically. So it's a hard one with men, to be honest with you. It's hard, but I don't give up. Like, again, I had the shoot with a man yesterday. I do 1 or 2 a month.
But that's still, I feel like, quite a lot.
Yeah. I will say that most of the men that I work with are from the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
So they have a different mindset when it comes to body image and different problems, you know. So they have the problems that men have at large: hair loss, height, penis size, all these good things, not good, tricky things. But also sexuality, you know, judgment from society, peer pressure, and so on. So it's a completely different cocktail of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share one of your most amazing stories with a client?
One of my most amazing stories.
I feel like the Mervynized one was a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the star jumps?
Yeah.
Damn it. That's like honestly, it's one of my favourite stories. Let me come up with one real quick. I've seen a lot of things. I'm going to give you a really good one. There's one on the tip of my tongue and I cannot get to it. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. When the pandemic was happening and they sort of allowed businesses to reopen, I had a shoot with someone and she, I think, was in the bathroom getting changed with, and I was like, I'm going to run down and get a coffee.
Okay.
And I picked up what looked like my COVID mask.
Okay.
And I picked it up, I went to put it on my face, and as in doing so, very quickly realised this is not a mask, but instead someone's thong. So it got about this close, and I managed to notice in time, so it was fine.
Aww.
And I had a good laugh about it. I actually think I could do better on the stories front. There's actually so many stories. I just can't engage with one right now. I might come back to that question if you let me.
You work with couples as well.
Yeah.
What is that experience like?
Oh, it's the most beautiful thing you can ever imagine. It has to be a couple who are actually like, how can I put this, like engaged with each other. Not a couple who are just like doing it for the sake of it. Like the couples that I've worked with, who I guess I choose to work with, because again, I don't just shoot with everyone. They're people who, you know, they come into the office and they're holding hands, or they're people who like engage with each other and there's a love there.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're capturing so many things at the same time. You're capturing their connection, you're capturing their bodies, you're helping them get more confident, but also the intimacy.
Yeah.
Like, I give them a space where they can just be close in whatever that means for them. I've had inquiries from couples who've been like, you do couples, right? Because my partner and I were looking to, you know, have some fun. And I'm like, nah, not working with you. But I will work with a couple who are engaging with each other in an organic way. And I'm prepared to give them a space where they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, no one really ever wants to go that far anyway.
Yeah.
But it is still beautiful for them to be close and connected. And my role, which is a very privileged role, is to get to capture that. And I've so far, like, touch wood, like I've captured it in some amazing ways. I'm going to take that, like some of the images I've taken of couples are like some of my best work because it's this authentic love or connection, at least, that you can see it, you can feel it in the picture. It's honestly blows my little mind. Can't believe I took it sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the picture, it's the energy in the room. Like, I was able to capture something that was real and existed versus posing. And that's what we're trying to remove. It's not about, like, people say, oh, should I be practicing my posing at home? Like, definitely don't do that. You want to be practicing vulnerability more than anything else.
Yeah. I had a question and now it's completely gone out of my head as you were talking. Oh yeah, have you had any struggles? Like, what struggles have you had, like, building this business for the last, what was it, 7 years?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons. I still have them today. As you can imagine, being a man in this space has its whole host of labels that come with that. And some people decide or choose or believe that it's their right to share those struggles with me in the form of a DM or a comment, which can be quite hard. When you're really passionate about something and you're really trying to help people, it can be quite difficult when someone just out of nowhere just slanders you because of your gender, ultimately. Because if I was a different gender and I looked differently, I wouldn't be getting that same, you know, that rhetoric. But I try not to give that too much power because it is a minority. It's a very small minority. But I often wonder is that sometimes the reason why I find it harder to have doors open for me in other areas. Like maybe it's partnerships, maybe it's working with like, you know, more corporations and stuff.
Okay.
Because people have their biases, and people, you know, may look at the images and be like, that's sex. He has a camera. He is a man. You know, like, and then create this picture and not realize, you know, I had this situation with a charity a few years ago. I was like, I want to donate you a shoot every month, right? Give it to whoever you want. Do it as a giveaway. Whoever wants it, you know. And it was a charity who, I don't want to like name them or give what they do away, but they help people with their body image.
Okay.
And I was like, please, like, let me. And they decided that it was inappropriate. And I was like, you don't understand what you're doing. It's that person's right or their choice. If they even want to take you up on your offer, you're not forcing it on them, and I'm not. But also, what their session even looks like.
Yeah.
That was really sad. It broke my heart. But again, if I was a different gender and looked differently, I don't think we'd be having that conversation, which breaks my heart.
Do you think that just was from looking at the end result rather than seeing the experience itself?
Potentially.
Because if that's what they do, it doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I think my gender maybe as well. But also, I think, unfortunately for, like in that example, the people that would have really benefited from working with me or working with us have had that taken away because of someone's bias. Someone sat somewhere, had a look at something, or didn't even bother reading, I would imagine. Because if you read, you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But they just saw some pictures and made a decision. And so the work we're trying to do now is, how can we have images that also have a story attached to it? How can we turn someone who looks super confident or super sexy or, you know, has loads of cleavage and maybe has a body that's sexualized or is often objectified, but put a story under it saying this person has overcome an eating disorder, or this person has this chronic illness, or this person currently has stage 3 cancer, just to like bring it right back to what's actually happening. Because I think what people are doing is they're looking at a person and being like, oh, she looks fit or sexy, and like dehumanizing her experience. And I think we could do better. I think we have a responsibility there to now, I think I'm genuinely thinking all pictures now don't go out without a like burned in caption on the picture, sharing that person's story. So it doesn't enable other people to look on and be like, I can't do that, but it also means that they won't make up stories about that person's journey.
Yeah. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your job?
People that turn a corner. There was a lady, here's a story. There was a lady, a grandmother that just came up. She was a grandmother and she didn't have photos of her or her children, her with her children, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Or her grandchildren.
Ever? Oh.
The last time she had a photo taken was 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Fear of the camera. Fear of what she looked like. Hated the camera. She'd wrestle people's phones off of them.
Wow.
Like, she hated it. And this is why I think women should run the planet. Because this woman decided, do you know what? I'm sick of this. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dive into the deep end. And I'm going to have a nude photo shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
She just went straight in for nude.
Well, no one can go straight in for nude, to be honest with you, Martha. Like, even if someone tells me they want to do it, there's a whole process to get to that point. But she ultimately got there.
Nice.
You know? What a woman. And so that was beautiful, because now she's like taking photos of her and her grandchildren all the time. I've had people come in who have deleted whole parts of their history, have deleted images of themselves 10 years because they just didn't like what they looked like.
Yeah.
How, like, breaks my heart. Because what we're missing, and I think we're doing this at large, is we're missing the fact that it's a memory.
Yeah. Because even when you're like, you know, when your mum pulls out like the photo album and there's like pictures in there from God knows when, like, I can't imagine like not having that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sad.
It's really sad. It honestly breaks my heart. Just very, very quick story. My ex-partner and I, she had has an 8-year-old. He was 6 at the time. He was having a birthday party, his 6th birthday party. And we pulled him out of the party to get a photo. It was myself, her ex-husband and his partner. We wanted a group photo with him.
Okay.
And this kid was miserable. He was having fun. He's playing with his friends, and we pulled him out, and he had this miserable face. And we tried to bribe him, that thing that parents do, you know, like, oh, look, if you smile for the camera, we'll give you McDonald's, la, la, la. You know, we tried to get this kid to smile.
Yeah.
And I had this epiphany in the moment. I was like, why are we trying to manufacture this? Why not let the kid have whatever emotion he's got? Take the picture, just as it is.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing, best photo ever of all of us smiling, fake smiling, and him just having this miserable face.
Yeah.
Isn't that more memorable than the picture of him fake smiling because he wanted McDonald's? That photo, maybe their grandparents would have loved it, but we would have all forgotten that in a moment. That might have gone up on Instagram or wherever, but then it's dead. I'm still talking about that picture 2 years later. And that's what we're all missing. It might be uncomfortable in the moment, but one day you'll look back at that moment and be like, ah, what day.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a story behind it.
And there's a story behind it. Yeah. And I think I'm lucky enough to be in the room with many of these people where there's a story. And I guess what I was saying to you a minute ago, like, I guess I need to tell those stories a bit better. You know, that's the work I'm doing, because everyone has got a crazy story. Like, some of the things people have shared with me, like, you know, I've had people come in here, several people who have suffered at the hands of men. Let's put it that way. And you know what they're doing? This is why, honestly, women, man, they decided, I'm not going to let that beat me. I'm going to go into a space with a man, and I'm going to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reclaim that for myself. Tell me that isn't amazing. Like, I just think power to them. You know, everyone's got a story. Anyway, I'm going off.
I've gone off now in my head. You've got the, I don't remember what it's called, but the walk, the summer.
The summer walk.
Summer walk.
Yeah.
Tell everyone what that is.
Oh man, so the 31st of August.
Yeah.
We are taking a bunch of people, women actually, through the West End, and they're going to be mostly at large in just their underwear. We did it last year. It was for a closed group of invited people only, and there was about 30 odd, maybe 40 people. This year it's an open invitation, so everyone's invited, and everyone's welcome to come and meet us, strip down and go. And it is and will be the most terrifying thing for most people doing that. And I remember last year I had to coach everyone as a group. I was in the middle of this huddle, all these women just standing there in the lingerie, imagine it, and me in the middle, right? There's this great video, and I'm like hyping them up because they were all so nervous. I mean this, hand on my heart. Within 30 seconds of being outside, nerves all gone. And they were like this sisterhood, and I felt like the odd one out. Whilst I was like trying to hype them up, I felt a bit envious. I was like, I want to be part of it. You know, it was beautiful. So we're recreating that, but this time en masse. So I think we've got almost double the number already. Nice. So we're hoping to get like 100 plus. Then it starts getting a bit out of hand, and I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want to be organising that. So there must be like rules of stuff that you have to like stick to as well. You have to start. Then you got to start like informing the authorities and all that stuff. And I just don't want it to be that. And plus safety as well. You bring a bunch of women in their underwear, that comes with something. So you have to like manage their expectations, the expectations of the public. And it's funny, you know, the people that, let's say, had body types that aren't, or they believe aren't common, were the ones who were most terrified of stepping out there. And actually they got the most love, because the reality is that most of us have a body type that is common. We just don't see it. We live in a climate where most people are covered up, and most people have insecurities about their body, so they don't share it. So the UK average dress size now is like a 14. So a woman who's a size 14 or even 16, she thinks she's the odd one out. She's average. Think about it that way, right? So if an average woman with that body type is walking through the West End, the amount of love she's getting because other people are seeing them. They're like, wow, thank you so much. So it's going to be great. I'm so excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing all of it. It's amazing. What is your vision for the next 5 years? Great question. So we're in the process of developing something. I'm not going to say what it is because it's going to be a surprise. Okay. But we're in the process of developing something that will enable people to do this work without having to get in a room with me.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it's something that I think is vital. I think it's something that, because ultimately, Martha, as much as I love my work, the frustrating thing is that it's one person at a time. You know, when there are millions of people that could do with something like this. So we're trying to find ways in which we can enable people to have this or some form of this without having to go as far as having a whole session with me.
Okay.
Then it becomes more accessible through time, energy, and also affordability. So we're working on that. The long goal, and I've said this publicly before, is that we want to open up a confidence center.
Okay.
And it's a building that you will go to if you want to boost your confidence. So, and that might be in the form of styling sessions or therapy or dance classes, or maybe you want to, I don't know, just move your body in some other way, you know?
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the goal. And we'll have shoots there as well, obviously.
Yeah. That sounds exciting.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about it last night, actually, like just kind of keeping my eye on the ball. It's really, it's going to be vital work, because confidence is something that there isn't really, it's this thing that just kind of exists in the ether. Do you know what I mean? It's not something you can really go and practice. You know, you can gain confidence in multiple things. You can get more confident going to the gym, be more confident driving, be more confident cooking, and so on. But as far as your day-to-day existence, how does one gain more confidence in yourself? And I don't think there is anything that really is like an off-the-shelf product or a place you can go to experience that.
Yeah.
And so we want to have this place where people can be like, I've been feeling crap for about a month now. You know, I think I need to like get some help with like going back to myself. And that's what that place will be.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
If our viewers or listeners could take one thing from this episode, what would you want it to be?
The one thing I would say is that we often spend too much of our time focused on the 3 to 5% of our existence that isn't quite aligned with what we want it to be. And I would say that it's so vital that you don't allow yourself to lose sight or lose connection with the 95%, which is actually just amazing. Because you're missing it. You're going to miss out on that boat because you're too focused on the 5% that isn't right. You've had dinner like at someone's house, like your parents or Christmas or whatever, and someone puts on this whole spread, 27 different varieties of things, right? And you know what they'll say? Oh, sorry, the Brussels got too much salt in it.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
Yeah.
They're focusing on the 5%. And they're not able to just say, I've done an amazing job. The Brussels also has too much salt, but you can still have both.
Yeah.
We don't give enough credit to the 95. And what happens, unfortunately, and I've seen this in my work, is that 95% gets to 90% and 85% and then 50% to the point where actually you wish you had that 95%, you know? And it will change in time. You can't stop aging. Fact of life.
Yeah.
Today is the youngest you will ever be in your life. And that's a positive thing. Some people are like, oh my God, like it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
But if you can just take a minute and be like, actually, do you know what? For the most part, I'm really lucky. And start there. And then decide on all the things you want to adapt and change.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're going to do 333 now.
Sure.
Okay. So the first 3 is would you rather?
Okay.
So would you rather always be underdressed or always be overdressed?
Underdressed.
Really? Why?
I think how I took that question, how I interpreted that question was, like, if someone was throwing like a black tie event,
Yeah.
I would much prefer to show up there without a black tie and wearing red. You know, I'm more inclined to be underdressed in that environment than to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
I don't like going out now to places that are super swanky because I just don't like the effort.
Okay.
I'm past it now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you rather give up social media for a year or not look in the mirror for a year?
Give up social media for a year.
Earlier, though, you said you don't look in the mirror half the time.
That was a snap reaction, because now you say that, yeah, actually I can live without a mirror. I don't need a mirror. I very rarely look at my own reflection. But social media, and maybe because of my position on it, it's hard work. It's like doing your work, Martha, trying to do your job, and then every hour or so you got to open up a window and scream outside to someone who might be there. They might not, you don't even know who's listening, and be like, hey, look at me doing my job.
Yeah.
And it's tiring.
Yeah,
that's hard. So that's why right now I'm like, socials, I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe I could live without my mirror for a year.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather be known for your confidence or for your kindness?
I think kindness. Yeah, I think kindness. I give and give, and I've managed to put myself in a position now where I get paid to give, because there was a time when I would just give, and now there's boundaries up. You know, you want to get this thing that Mervyn's really good at, you got to, you know, turn up, show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And so I love that I'm a kind person. And that's not to say I only perform kindness when you pay me for it. I gave a homeless man my prized chocolate-covered dates the other day. I didn't have any money, and I was like, bro, I looked him in the eyes. I was like, these are precious to me, right? I was like, you're going to have them, but I need you to enjoy them. Okay, can you do that for me? Savor every bite.
Yeah.
And I gave them to him, and I just promised myself I wouldn't buy another packet until I really, really wanted it, because I wanted to feel that burn of like giving it to him. Like sacrifice, I mean, you know, like it was important to me. So I do kind things without being paid for it. This is me only for my benefit, Martha. I'm trying to justify it to myself. I'm like, man, I'm not out here just chasing money.
Okay, so the next three are finish the sentence. So one day I am going to
write a book
about
this journey.
Okay.
Yeah, there's stories for days, and I can't really recall so many of them. But if you pulled a picture up, I could tell you a story about that person. Yeah, so write a book about the things I've seen and the stories I've heard.
Yeah.
And the things I've experienced actually with those people. You know, some of it's so wild. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, my favourite way to start the day is?
I like to, I'm pausing because actually it's changed a lot recently.
Okay.
I like to have a coffee and journal. And then I plan my day. So I actually like sit down, look at my diary, and I like write out all the things I'm going to do that day. Okay. Yeah.
Are you quite organised?
Yes and no. So what I do, I have a call oftentimes first thing in the morning with a member of the team, and we go through like what I need to do that day, but anything I've sort of like missed or anything I've dropped the ball on. Yeah. She'll say to me, Merv, you haven't emailed this person back for over a week. And because I'll just forget about it, you know, I'm not organised in that sense. Okay. But it is important for me to uphold some form of professionalism. So yeah, of course. But because I'm bad at it, that's why I have someone to help me manage it, because I can't manage it on my own. Yeah. It's a lot. Okay.
I've already asked you this. The most rewarding part of my job is?
I'll see if I can give you a different answer, because there is other elements. I get to learn a lot about myself. I get to learn a lot about myself. I get to see most days like the impact I have on people's lives, but also about my own confidence. Yeah. It's through my work that's enabled me to just kind of pick my head up and walk stronger in the world. Because if someone can turn up to a shoot after having chemo, I'm like, okay, I can do this, you know? Or if someone can overcome all the stories, you know, like, so I think, yeah, that's also a massively rewarding part of my work, what I get out of it too. Yeah.
Okay, so the next three are just random questions. So what's the best gift you've ever received?
That is such an amazing question. Oh my goodness, that is so hard. Wow, this is where you prep people, right? This is when you send the questions beforehand, because you don't have this silence. Let me just give you an answer. Someone took a photo of me once, and it was in my home, and they're a really special person to me. We're no longer in each other's lives, really, and they took this amazing picture of me, and I've got it framed. They sent it to me, and I have it framed in the very spot where it was taken. So it kind of goes against the wall, and it's like there. It's really cool, and I get to see it every day, and it's like one of my prized possessions.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. What is one thing that you've always wanted to try but you haven't yet?
Stage lighting.
Okay.
So I have this dream of like being in, you know, like in a nightclub or on like at gigs and stuff. Someone's job is to like manage the lights. I did a course last year to learn all about it. It is complex.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it is so complex. And so, but I would love, my dream is to really just be able to do it for a night or an hour or half an hour. Like that's my dream. To just, I find lighting fascinating. Okay. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I always think that, you know, when you go to the theatre and there's like all these lights and like, I'm always like, I wonder who's like controlling all of that.
Yeah. And how much it can change the environment.
Yeah.
How you can have it pitch black and then suddenly there's a single light on this thing and suddenly the lights are on here, and like I just find lighting can really like just create an environment, whatever kind of environment you want that to be.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff if you know how to manage it and manipulate it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one is an iconic woman up question, is what 3 things do you love about yourself?
I love my kindness, I think, which has come up because you asked me that question earlier. It's right there. I love my ability to reach into other people's bubbles, and like I can see people. I can see people and I can see what's going on oftentimes behind what they're showing. But I love that I have the ability to see that, but also to like reach in and help if I can. The third thing I would say is, I think I love, wow, this is a great question. These are great questions. The third thing about myself that I love is, I guess, my smile, because it's now come up on my face and it kind of went, oh, I wonder if it's my smile. I'm going to say that. I love my smile.
Yeah, you do have a nice smile.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that. I've noticed in your Instagram, Instagram, I'm like, oh, his smile's really nice.
Oh, thanks, Martha. That's really nice of you to say.
Yeah,
I like it too. Yeah.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much.
That went so fast.
I know.
Thanks, Martha.
I don't even think I got through all the questions. I just had so many. But yeah, it was so nice speaking to you.
Not at all. Like, I want to add something actually.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you. I was going to say that at the beginning, but I dropped the ball. For bringing a man onto this space. It's a space for women, and for me to be here is no mini thing. It's a big deal, and I say this in every female space that I get invited into. Like, I'm aware that it takes a lot for you to trust this person to invite them in. So, thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you for all the work that you do. Just even some of the stories that you've told, it's just like, oh, you're doing like such good work. Thank you. It. Yeah. Thank you so much. Guys, don't forget, if you've enjoyed the episode, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. We really want to push the podcast out there, and we appreciate you. So we'll see you next week. Bye. Okay, so that's it for this week's episode of the Woman Up podcast. All the links and resources we mentioned in the episode will be in the description, no matter where you're listening or watching from. If you're listening or watching this on a podcast platform such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a review and follow the channel. You have no idea how much this helps to push out the podcast to a wider audience. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button for the same reason, and feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, or make suggestions. It really means the world to us, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.